Hello and welcome to our Lord Solicitors podcast. My name's Owen White and I'm a trainee solicitor, and I'm joined by Inam Ali, who is a solicitor. Today we are talking about commercial leases and the break clause. So, Inam, would you like to give me a brief description about what a break clause is?
So basically break options are where you can terminate the lease early before the end of the lease term. So if you've got a 10-year lease term, so you might have a break option at year 5. So that means you can, if you want to, you can terminate the lease at that point instead, halfway through the lease.
And who can exercise a break option?
So it depends on what's been negotiated at the start of the lease before it's drawn up. So you can have only one of the parties having the option to be able to to break the lease. So it can be tenant only or landlord only, or it can be mutual. So it can be both the tenant and the landlord.
And how do you go about exercising said option?
Yeah, so basically, the break option, the clause does stipulate how it's done. So most break options have like a minimum notice period, just to sort of give the other party, enough warning to confirm that you intend to break the lease at the specific break date. So usually the period is a minimum of 6 months. It can be shorter. It really depends what the parties agree at the beginning of the lease negotiations. So it's usually 6 months, and it will have to be in writing, just because you want to make sure that you've got a written copy of the notice that you served on the other party. And obviously, most commercial leases will have a specific section in the lease about serving notices. So you need to make sure that you're following the rules in there as well. So that kind of sets out, how any notice is to be served, how it's to be received by the landlord, what format it can be sent in, etc., etc.
And would you recommend in the negotiation of the heads of terms prior to entering into a lease that a tenant would try to secure a break option?
Absolutely. So whenever I have clients who come to me for a commercial lease, I always do go through the heads of terms. I scan through them and check if there's a break option. If there isn't, then I do always specifically mention it to the client and suggest that they do try to negotiate a break option. It's just extra peace of mind, especially if you're setting up a new business. You want to, if you put a lot of money and effort into setting up a business, and then the actual liability under a lease is quite significant. If you add up the term and the amount of rent that you'd be paying over the years, it's quite a significant amount. And when you mention that to the clients, then they realize how big a liability a commercial lease can be. And so that usually sort of helps them understand the sort of risk level. And then they do tend to sort of go back to the agents and the landlord, and they try to negotiate a break option. And it's fairly common practice now to have a break option in a lease. So, it's nothing unusual. So if you don't have, if you're at the stage where you're about to negotiate for a new lease, or you're already in the midst of negotiating a new lease, then it is definitely worth bearing in mind that you should try to get a break option, and maybe have it as regular as possible. So you could have it like, say, every 3 years or every 5 years of a lease. That usually is quite sensible to have.
So, in summary, do get in touch if you're looking to enter into a lease with a landlord, or if you're a landlord, or if you want some advice in relation to the terms of your lease, then contact us. Thank you.
Thanks.